In this video, we're going to have a look at a way to set up a really nice responsive menu. It's a free plugin. So what we're first going to do is just have a look and see what our mobile menu looks like before installing. So this is the template using Oxygen Builder, and you'll see that it's a pretty basic view. So now what we're going to do is go and install the plugin and then see what a difference that makes. So we'll head over to plugins, we'll add new. And we'll just type in the word responsive. And you'll see that this is the plugin here. That's the icon. And we're going to install. Installed, we'll activate. Right, so the plugin has been installed and activated. Here it is here. And to find the settings, we head over to responsive menu on the left-hand side. So there is a pro version and there is a free version. So we're looking at the free version first. And what we're going to do is we're going to just hide the pro options. So now we'll only have the free version options available. So the first thing you'll see here is we can set a breakpoint for the mobile view. So we'll make that 768 pixels. And then you can select the menu to use for your mobile menu. So in this case, we'll leave it at main, and then the original menu to hide. So I'm just going to update the options first. And the original menu to hide, we're going to get that reference off the website. And that refers either to an ID or a class. So for example, the ID with a hash in front or the class that we want to replace. So we head over to our website. We're going to inspect the menu class. And I have an ID here of main menu. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go with the ID of main, the menu main. I'm going to update the options. And now when I refresh my page, you'll see that I have a little menu block here at the top of the page. And now I have a menu that slides out from the side. But you'll also see that I still have the original menu tab here, although it's now empty because the menu is no longer visible. The menu is now actually been moved here and the menu disabled, but still I don't want this icon on my page. So what I would do then is go and look in my code and go back to that particular item. So here I have the ID of this particular piece of content. So what I'm going to do is copy that ID. So the same would apply in your theme. If you find that the icon in your main theme is still visible, then just go up a level in your code until you find the ID for that particular element. Now that I've made that update, you'll see that it's no longer visible. And that's exactly what we want. And now we can just have a look at some of the styling options that we might want to apply to the menu. So let's head back to the back end. And one of the things that you'll notice here is that the menu is actually covered by this top bar from WordPress, which is a bit annoying. So let's go and have a look at the options and see how we can address that. So the first option that we have here is to set the width of the menu that opens up, and that's called the container. And inside the container, these are some of the options that we have. We have the title, the menu, the search, and then some additional content. What I like to do is to change that 75% to 100% so that it fills the full width of the screen when the menu opens. The background color of the container at the moment is black, so we can leave that color. Inner container color black, we can leave that. The font size, I always like to make it a little bit bigger for mobile views, so let's just make that 20 for the title text. Text alignment left, and the text here we will put as demo site, so that'll add a text link at the top. Title colors, let's make that slightly red. If we have a title image, that might be good for a logo. You can upload your logo here. So I'm not sure that I have an image that I could use. I'll just use that image for the logo. And then if we have any additional content, you can add that towards the bottom. And here we choose where that container must appear from, and we've set to appear from the left. We've set slide. You can use push or fade. And let's update those settings. Now when we update our menu, you'll see that when I click on the menu, it opens the full page. There's the red background that we put for the header, so that could be my logo, the name of my website, and then there's the menu, and then there's a search bar. To close now, I would hit the close button and it closes. We've also made the text bigger on the wording for demo site. So you can see already we're starting to get some shape into our menu. Now we'll look at the menu itself. We can set the depth of the menu. Once again, font size, I like to make it a little bit bigger, especially on mobile, so you can tap on it easier with your finger. We can set some options here with item borders. We have the item text. Maybe to make it more visible, you might want to look at a yellow against the black. Maybe we'll just do that. Leave the rest. Okay, then if you have a sub-menu within your menu, we have the option then to position that little down arrow. In this case, we'll just use that active shape and the inactive, so that's when it's pointing down or pointing up. And if we scroll further down, we just have the trigger sizing, trigger border. We don't have that little trigger enabled on our site, but if I refresh now, we should see bigger text for the menu items. So there you can see they're in yellow, nice and big, so much easier to read. So that was easy enough to do. Then we're going to look at the sub-menus. We don't have any sub-menus at the moment, but the same would apply. And once again, you might want to give it a slightly bigger font. And just to differentiate it from the rest of the items in the menu, maybe you'll just change the color there. Let's say make that an orange. And we'll go and add some sub-menu items soon so that we can just see how the sub-menus would look. Item text, item background, trigger borders, padding. So once again, a whole lot of settings that you can set up for your sub-menu, and also some animations. If we look at the button itself, you have a choice of boring, and then inside the Pro, you would have a lot more options, so you could make it more interesting. But you don't need to have that necessarily. Positioning is fixed. We could make it absolute or relative, but fixed is nice because as you scroll, the menu button stays in the top right hand corner. In this case, here we can set the height and the width of that button. Then we have the line sizing within that container, in that button, the background, the line colors, which are those little lines that run across. And just to show the difference there, let's also make that a yellow. We don't have any title text, so let's add some title text. This would be the button title, so you might want to make that button just as a demo. And you could also use an image. And there we have the trigger. So if you wanted to add some CSS, that would be the trigger. Right, so there we have the yellow, the button color changed. And then we move on to technical stuff. And this is, for example, just the admin theme, so we can leave that on dark. There are some options here for scripts, using external scripts or minifying scripts, or place scripts in the footer, maybe to speed up the loading. But nothing here that we want to do anything with at the moment. And then we have some advanced options. Don't normally do anything in the advanced options, but there are some. And then if you want to, you might be able to choose a theme, but there are no themes at the moment. So some of those options though would apply more to the Pro version. So here we have a fully working mobile menu that works really nicely, and as I scroll, you'll see that that was the button text that we added. The responsive menu stays permanent in the top right hand corner and opens and closes nicely. I can then also navigate to the page from there. Works nice and easily, and I can also do a search from within the menu. Enter, and right, and there would be the search results coming up. So a very nice, easy to use plugin. The Pro version though does unlock a couple more options. So if we were to look at that, for example, if we said display the Pro options, we now have the Pro options displayed, and one of the Pro options available is a header bar. And inside the header bar, you can, instead of then just having your button on the right, you can have a header bar that fills across the entire screen at the top. So that just makes it easier for the user then to use. And we'll have a look at that in action. In the demo going forward when we activate the Pro version. Before going to the Pro version, let's just go and have another look at our button. We've selected the button, it's in a fixed position, it's in the right, the distance from the side. What we can do is make that a 0, so it's always in the top right, and we can make that a 0. And here we have the width for the button, and we can, in the Pro, change that to a percentage so that it would stretch all the way across the page. So at the moment, what we've done is just made sure it's in the top right-hand corner without any white space, and that just keeps it nice and small. Here we have the line sizing, the width, the margin, the background, the line colors, and we added a title with the word button, but that just is more distracting. And now we can update those settings. And now you'll see that if we have the button, it's permanently in the top right-hand position, and very also not so distracting for the user. So in a normal installation, we wouldn't have the top WordPress bar, and it would look something like that with the menu permanently available. Right, so that just to show us if we wanted to change the location, can do it by moving the button to the left, but the right is the normally accepted practice. And then we have from the side and then from the top. Right, now we're going to have a look at the same menu, but we're going to install the Pro version and have a look at the difference and what else can be done in the Pro version. So the Pro version I've uploaded and installed. So you need to download from the responsive menu website and then upload. And when you install, it deactivates the free version. And of course, then you have the features of the Pro version. So we'll head over to the Pro version now. And you'll see that the interface across the top looks very much the same. So first we just need to activate. So to activate, insert your license key, and you'll see that the license is valid. So now what we can do is head over to the initial setup, and you'll see that the initial setup would need to be done again. So we'll do that. Scroll down to the original menu to hide. So with that set, right, so we've now activated the menu. So if we head over to the website and we refresh, we now have the Pro menu active, and you'll see that the settings are reset to default. So now we can go ahead and set up the Pro option. So one of the first things that you might want to do is head over to the header bar now, which is a new feature. We'll enable that. And basically what the header bar does is it stretches across the top of the menu. And without doing too many changes, we just activate it. And when we go and have a look now, you'll actually see that you have this bar across the top of the page. So as you scroll now, you'll see that it's permanently fixed to the top of the page, and we can choose what goes into that header bar. At the moment, we have logo on, title, search, and content. So we'll turn off the HTML content. In this case, we won't use the search, but we will have a title, or we can have a logo in the top. In this case, we'll just put in some text, and we'll call that demo site. And scroll down. So we won't do the additional HTML content. We won't do any other options. Here we can set the height of that bar. So we'll set it to 80 just to see if that's high enough. If it's not, we can make it taller. And that's the color of the background and the text. So the background, we would want to make it darker. Update the options. Now when we have a look at our header bar at the top of the page, it's in black, and there's the demo site. But we still have this bar that covers everything. So let's go and see how we can remove that bar in the back end. So we head over to advanced. And here you'll see that we have this option when the menu is, here we go, adjust for the WP admin bar. So we find that setting under advanced. We update the options. And now when we view the menu on the front end, you'll actually see that it comes in below. So making it easier for us to now work on the formatting, and that top white gap is where the admin bar would go. But at least when it's in the top position now, we can see what that is. When we open the menu, it still then opens as normal. Right, you'll see here that we still have this menu item showing. So let's inspect that. We just get that ID. So we know that that's the ID. We can then go back to our initial setup and just make sure that we put the hashtag in front to indicate that it's an ID. And now it's no longer visible. What we can do now is quickly set up the width of that container. We know that it should be 100%. The font size for the title text we're going to set to 20, and the text would be, in fact, we can make it a little bit bigger. Text alignment, this time we're going to make it centered. And the link on that text, if you click on it, will just take you back to the home page. And the text we will do in yellow. We're not going to do any images. So now when we open, there we have demo site, and then we have the shop. If we want to adjust that text, very easy, scroll down, change that to maybe a 30, and let's keep it left and it doesn't interfere with the bottom with that button. Right, so there we have demo site, and there we have our navigation. So now we can head over to the menu. Of course, now we have access to a lot more options. So let's make that 20 on submenu items. We're not going to have any borders. Item text color, so let's make the color, just for demo, we'll make that a bright green. And the background, let's make it slightly gray just to differentiate. Of course, there are a lot more settings that you can go in and use. Just to give a quick idea of what that will look like, we have the demo site, and there we have the pages. So let's add some sub pages, and we can see what that would look with some sub pages. So quickly we head over to the appearance, we head over to menus. We know that it's the main menu, and what we'll do is we'll add in some sub menu here. I'll save. So now when we open the menu, you'll see that we have a sub menu, and when we click, we have the active page is white, and we can see the sub menu items. If we want to make them a little bit bigger for finger purposes, let's close that. Let's go over to sub menus, and we can immediately change the font size, make that bigger. We're not going to use any borders. So the item texture, what we'll do is we'll make that blue just to identify. The item background, I'll just make that a subtle blue. Right, so update those options. Now when the menu opens, you have the blue and the blue background, so you can immediately see that those are sub items of pages. And if we click on that, of course it will load that on the website. You can see now that we're on the shop page. The background has changed, so we can see that we're on that page. And if we close the menu, you can see that we're in the that pages section. Shop page is selected and sample page is not selected. But you can change those formatting items the way that you want or would prefer. Let's just go and have a look then at the button. So at the moment we have the boring selected, but we can have elastic, refresh that, and you'll see how that changes as it opens. So that's the elastic animation coming into play there. We haven't really looked at anything under technical, not much really to do there, except if you wanted to rebuild or reset the options. Nothing. And then under the advanced, we have the animation speed, colors, submenus, speed, and then any other shortcodes and things, custom CSS. Positioning is fixed. If we were going to use an image, so let's add a logo and just see how that would look. So we'll use that image for the logo. And here we know that we've set the menu height to 80. So let's set the height to 70. We're not going to put in anything in the width. I'll just put logo as the alt text. Now when we refresh, you'll see that we have a logo in our top bar. There's our logo. There's the name of the website. So if your logo includes your name, then you could pretty much exclude the text. And that opens as per normal. Of course, in the container, we can add a logo. So we'll just scroll down to the logo section. So there's the image for the title. So it could be the logo image, or you might choose any other image. Doesn't necessarily have to be your logo. And when that opens now, you'll see that we have the image at the top and then the rest of the items. It does, in that size, push down the shop. So we could scroll down to that image and we could change the height, for example, and make that a fixed height of 100. And now, of course, when that opens, it's a much smaller image. So that's just to give you a really brief idea into what's possible, but there is a lot that is possible. And if you wanted to, it does also have a desktop menu option. If you wanted, you could activate the desktop menu using this plugin as well. And you can see here, you can set the settings. And also, if you wanted it under general settings, this would mean that it would be sticky at the top when you scroll down. But generally, only use this plugin for the mobile menu. So I hope that gives you just a brief insight into what's possible. Hope you enjoyed watching that. Thank you for watching.